June 14th, 2025. Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport, Ahmedabad, India. The first rays of sun hit the terminal, signaling the start of a new day, but nobody knows that this day is about to go down in history. Passengers board Air India Flight 171, which is headed to London. Travelers are getting on the plane with their dreams and hopes, some going for work, others for vacation. The Boeing 737 MAX, once controversial, is now routine, shining in the morning sun. Despite its technical challenges, this plane has become an important part of many people's lives today. Families settle in, business travelers get ready for work, and the crew completes the final checks. Every switch, every instrument, every detail is being carefully checked because safety is the top priority. The flight is 9 hours long and the sky ahead is clear. The pilot and co-pilot take a final look at the weather report, making sure there are no unexpected problems during the trip. Nobody knows what tragedy is about to happen, an event that will not only change the lives of the people on this flight, but will shake the whole world. The cabin doors close and the outside world disappears. Now, passengers have entered a different world, where time slows down and everyone gets lost in their thoughts. Safety instructions play, which most people don't pay attention to. But these instructions might just save some lives if they listen carefully. 189 people, everyone with their hopes and plans, are on the plane. Doctors, engineers, students, business people, and many others, all bound by the same fate. The plane pushes back taxis and lines up for takeoff. The plane's speed slowly increases on the runway and passengers sit tight in their seats. As the engines roar, Flight 171 heads towards a disaster that will shock the world. This is a story that reminds us how fragile life is and that we should live every moment to the fullest. The 737 MAX takes off smoothly, as if it were just another normal day. Passengers are excited for their trip, crew members are ready for their duties, and the plane seems to be working perfectly. It goes up into the sky over India. Cutting through the clouds, this giant bird heads towards its destination, unaware of the hidden dangers that lie ahead. In the cabin, you hear the usual sounds: service carts, quiet chatter from passengers, and a steady hum from the plane's engines. Quiet talks, laughter, and the wait to reach their destination. The plane's humming, a soundtrack that has been a part of countless journeys, creates a feeling of safety and comfort. Autopilot is on, a system designed to make the pilot's job easier during long flights. And the pilots are watching their instruments. Everything is fine. They keep an eye on the altitude, speed, and engine performance, making sure the plane is on the right path. Passengers relax, some read, some sleep, and some just look out the window. They don't know that there's a hidden flaw inside the aircraft systems, a deadly defect that threatens to turn this normal flight into a terrible nightmare. MCAS, designed to prevent stalls, a system built to keep the plane safe, has now become a source of unexpected danger. It gets triggered by a faulty sensor, a tiny part that sends wrong information to the whole system. It wrongly thinks the nose is too high, making the plane seem like it's about to stall, even when it's not. And it pushes it down, making the plane's nose drop unexpectedly. The pilots see a slight unintended dip and correct it, relying on their training and experience to level the plane back out. But MCAS activates again, and again, like a stubborn and relentless force determined to push the plane down. A silent battle begins. Pilots versus automation. A struggle that puts the lives of everyone on board at risk. Confusion grows in the cockpit as the system overrides human control, making the pilots struggle to figure out what's happening and how to stop it. Over the mountains of Turkey, a deadly tug-of-war is happening, an invisible battle that will decide whether this plane will reach its destination safely or become a terrible tragedy. The fight in the cockpit gets worse. Alarms blare, the plane shakes wildly. The pilots fight the controls, looking at emergency checklists, but the MCAS keeps pushing the nose down. In the cabin, panic spreads as the aircraft dives and climbs in unpredictable ways. The crew tells passengers to fasten their seatbelts. There's chaos everywhere. The final dive is very fast and can't be stopped. The pilot's last message is a desperate cry for help. Flight 171 crashes into the mountains near Lake Van in Turkey at over 500 miles per hour. The impact is terrible, no chance of survival. A journey of hope ends in a terrible disaster. After the explosion, a chilling silence falls, as if time itself has stopped. That silence is only broken by the sirens of first responders and the sound of heavy footsteps, bringing both hope and fear. The crash site is a terrible field of wreckage and destruction, twisted pieces of metal, scattered remains, and a painful story spread everywhere. None of the 189 people survived. Every single life, a family, a dream, all gone in an instant. Families, students who were moving forward in their lives, professionals and children who had a world to give, and the world had so much to give them. All their lives ended too soon. Their memories will now live forever in the hearts of those who loved them. Forensic teams carefully search every inch of the ground, looking for body parts and personal items, each thing telling a story, showing a glimpse of a life, so that the grieving families can find peace, so that they know their loved ones were not alone. DNA samples are taken, a quiet search for identity. This process is slow and painful, but it's necessary so that every person can be identified with respect. The world mourns, feeling the weight of this loss. As names are released, each name becomes a heartbreaking piece of news, each an unfinished story, a life that will never be complete. The crash shatters trust in airlines, manufacturers and regulators, raising questions about what can be done to prevent it from happening again. 189 futures stolen, each held a treasure trove of hidden possibilities, proof of a system failure that failed them. This is a warning, a demand for change. The true loss is measured in empty seats, in the places where no one will ever sit again, measured in unanswered calls and broken families that will never be the same. The human cost of this tragedy is priceless, a wound that may never fully heal. Investigators look for the black box, and they quickly focus on the flight control systems. The data shows that the MCS kept pushing the nose down, just like in the earlier 737 MAX disasters. A faulty sensor started a deadly chain of events. The pilots' efforts were overridden by the automation, trapping them in a deadly loop. Even with software updates and new training, the core design flaw remained. One sensor, no backup. The investigation shows a culture of rushing for profit, loose regulations, and ignored warnings. The Flight 171 crash isn't just a technical problem, it's a systemic, preventable disaster. The world demands answers from Boeing. The company expresses sympathy and promises to help, but the public's anger grows. CEO David Calhoun admits there was a mistake with MCS and promises changes, but many people think it's just about fixing their image. Boeing's stock goes down, airlines ground the 737 MAX again. Promises of fixes and training seem empty. Trust is broken. This sad event changes Boeing's image from a great engineering company to a symbol of corporate carelessness. Their words of responsibility are doubted. The cost isn't just money, but lives lost. Flight 171's legacy is a warning. Safety should never be sacrificed for money. Whistleblowers had warned long before the crash about Boeing's safety culture getting worse. Fast production, ignored engineering concerns, and reports of focusing on profit over safety were dismissed. The MCS system was a product of this environment, designed to avoid expensive retraining, not to maximize safety. After Flight 171, these warnings sadly proved true. This disaster is not unforeseen, but rather the result of deliberate choices and silenced alarms. This loss becomes proof of the courage of those who spoke up and also the cost of not listening. The news of the crash just devastates India and the whole world. People hold memorial services, and the country declares a day of national mourning. The Indian government grounds all 737 MAX planes, and other countries do the same. The public is really angry at Boeing and the aviation system because it failed to keep passengers safe. This crash leads to international investigations, lawsuits, and calls for changes. Trust in aviation safety is broken. It's not just India's loss, but a global reckoning. The world demands answers and changes. The wreckage of Flight 171 is a clear reminder. Safety must come before profit. The story of the 737 MAX is a warning against shortcuts, hidden defects, and regulatory carelessness. True safety needs independent oversight and protection for whistleblowers. Regulators should protect public safety, not the industry's interests. This tragedy shows we need a culture that values different opinions and openness. The loss of 189 lives could have been avoided. It's a failure of systems, ethics, and leadership. The only true tribute